Morning, church. Praise God. What a lovely service so far. I mean, so wonderful. Everything is getting knit together. Wonderful word given by Claudia and then the worship team. And then, of course, Harry, who kept on saying it's all about Jesus. And that's so true. It's all about Jesus. And I want to ask you a question. I don't necessarily expect you to unmute or to show up your hands because I know that we are on a Zoom service. But the question is, how many of you all spend at least 30 seconds in front of your wardrobe thinking what you're going to wear for this service today? Or more than, I spent more than 2 minutes because I thought like, no, I need to see what I have. If I have worn this shirt last time, no, I don't want to wear this shirt again. So yeah, some of you must have been thinking in terms of what am I going to have for breakfast? Or the mothers and the wives must be thinking, what are we going to do for lunch today? What are we going to do? So each time you have to take a decision, something like that, these are all simple decisions. Your mind comes to a crossroad. You come to a place where you have to take a decision. And these times when you come, this is fairly simple. I mean, these are all your everyday life things that happen, and you go through this every single day. That's fine. That's all okay. Sometimes, now schools have opened, offices have opened. Many people have started to work from office. So you take your car and you go on your normal road and you come to a junction. And that's the time you're standing on a red signal, and you need to take a call. Which way you have to turn, whether left, right, or go straight. Maybe if you are familiar with that route, if I have to go down to city center in Dubai, probably it'll be very easy for me to go because I know exactly where to turn and where at the junction, I know where I have to go. But there are certain times when you come on a crossroad, you are at a fix. If I have to go to Abu Dhabi, to the city center in Abu Dhabi, probably I will not know. And if there is no GPS, I will have to really ask someone. And that's the time when I have to take a decision at the crossroads. Many times in our lives, we come to a crossroads. Sometimes we take and we look whether we're going to find Isaiah chapter 30 verse 21. Lord, whether you turn to your left or to your right, you'll hear a voice from behind, go this way. And I'm trying to see which way to turn, Lord, I don't know. And here it is, you stand at the crossroad and you think, where am I going to do? What am I? And those decisions that you take at the crossroads could be very costly. Some decisions you go and there is no U-turn for a long time. You have to drive for 20 kilometers to get a U-turn. It becomes difficult. But those are still okay. You can still take a U-turn. But there are some crossroads in our life where we come because the situation brings us in. I've titled my today's message as Crossroads. I mean, I know that we are dwelling on the theme of life of service, and I know that I'm going to actually bring that in. And if you see this crossroad, this is one of the crossroads, I think, in Dubai. You try and figure out, I'm going to miss one exit, then I don't know where I'm going to land. And if those who are in Dubai, they can relate to this photograph which is on your screen, that this is going to be difficult. And I'm going to be talking about a lady in the Bible who's at a crossroad. And she's at a crossroad, and we're going to see what's going to happen. But before that, let me read the scriptures for you today. Let me just read the scripture. There are only 7 scriptures. It's from the Luke chapter 7, verses 11 to 17. I'm going to read. If you were in my live group, one of our children would have read this for me, but I'm going to read this for you today. And if you see in this entire scriptures, there are only 2 places which are marked in red, which are Jesus's words. Let's have a read that. I'm reading Luke chapter 7, verses 11 to 17. Soon afterward, Jesus went to a town called Nain, and his disciples and a large crowd went along with him. As he approached the town gate, a dead person was being carried out, the only son of his mother. I want you to stress on this point. The only son, very important, only son. And we're going to come back to it a bit later. And she was a widow, and a large crowd from the town was with her. When the Lord saw her, his heart went out to her, and he said, "Don't worry." That's another thing which we're going to talk about it a bit later. Then he went up and touched the bier they were carrying him on, and the bearers stood still. He said, "Young man, I say to you, get up." The dead man sat up and began to talk, and Jesus gave him back to his mother. "Young man, I say to you, get up." We are going to again come back to it. Jesus' words. They were all filled with awe. I want you to just dwell on this I'm going to come on this word awe again and praise God. A great prophet has appeared among us, they said. God has come to help his people. This news about Jesus spread throughout Judea and the surrounding country. Church, for our rest of this 35-40 minutes, what we're going to be on, I'm going to be dwelling mostly on this passage, these 7 verses, mostly on it. But before getting into this, I wanted to just draw your attention to, we started from verse 11 onwards. But I wanted to just talk to you for a few minutes about the author. This is why I'm just bringing this to you is about the author. Is the author Luke. He's a different author when it compares to the other gospels, which I have told in the past as well on some other platforms. I like to read Luke more because he's more detailed, and he didn't meet Jesus, but he went to the eyewitnesses and he took a lot of information. And the Gospel of Luke can be talked about the Gospel of amazement, because a lot of amazing things happen in this. The Gospel of amazement. You know what? Everybody got amazed. Zechariah, he got amazed. Joseph and Mary got amazed. The people of Nazareth got amazed. The shepherds got amazed. The people in Capernaum got amazed. And just now I read that the people in Nain also got amazed. And also that the people in the Pharisees were also amazed. Everybody gets amazed. So if you go and read the scriptures, if you read this Gospel of Luke, you will find many times that people are amazed. Luke uses the word amazed into different ways. Amazed is something like astonished, surprised, awe. Just now we read, speechless. Something is there. But is amazed word is a positive word or a negative? It can be used in both the senses. So people are getting amazed. Today we are reading the stories after 2020 years, but we are also amazed. Each time you read these stories, these miracles that happened, and as Harry was saying, this is all about Jesus and the miracles the way he did. We are all amazed. But the question is, does Jesus get amazed anytime? Do you think that Jesus is amazed by what we do? We are amazed by what Jesus does. We are so much amazed. We keep on thinking Jesus has done so many miracles, but do we give an opportunity for Jesus to get amazed? The Gospel of Luke records Jesus being amazed. And I'm going to talk to you about this, and I have not put the scriptures wantingly on the screen today. Wantingly, I've not put this thing because I want you to just tell you a story that happened before that, from verse 1 to verse 10. Verse 1 to verse 10, there was a time when, there was a centurion, a powerful man. And just imagine in those days when slaves were mistreated, this centurion had compassion on his slave, in his servant. His servant was sick. So he sends the elders from his town to tell Jesus, he had heard about Jesus, to please come to his house and heal this man. And the elders go to Jesus and they tell Jesus, you know what? Please come to the centurion's house to pray over and to heal the sick servant because he deserves it. They emphasizes to Jesus saying that he deserves it. He's a man who is man of authority. He's a man who has done very good for our nation. He's the man who has built synagogues. And they said, you have to come. He said, you come. And Jesus being so humble, always very compassionate, always very patient. Jesus was saying, okay, I'll come down. And Jesus was walking down towards this man's house. The centurion immediately realized, and he sent forth word with his servant, with his friends. He says, Jesus, I don't deserve it. I don't deserve that you can come to my place. I'm not worthy that you should come to my place. You just say the word. I'm a man of authority. No, when I say go, people go. When I say come, they come. But for you, you just say the word. Just say only that word, and my servant will be healed. You know, the Bible records in Luke chapter 7, verse 9, when Jesus heard this, he was amazed. Jesus was amazed, and he says, great faith. And you know, we were singing the song, Ascribe God of Faithfulness, and I was like, wow, that is the God of faithfulness. Jesus was amazed. He was amazed. He was saying that great faith, not found such great faith even in Israel. He said, I can't find such great faith. And he only mentioned this only once to this man. He said, it's a great faith. This word amazed, when it came in from Jesus, it came in a positive way. But Jesus in Luke chapter 6, in Mark chapter 6, verse 6, he used it in a negative way. People of Nazareth did not believe Jesus. Jesus says he was amazed by their lack of faith. And he says, little faith. You just see how it is. 2 times only Jesus was amazed, as the Bible records. Once he was amazed in a positive way. One, he was amazed in a negative way. Church, for us, we are an amazing grace church. What does it make to make Jesus amazed? That's the question for us. The question for us is, what amazes Jesus? Does he get amazed with something that we do? The answer for it is only one thing. One thing that amazes him is faith. He says he's a faithful God. Jesus said in Mark chapter 11, verse 22, have faith in God. He gets amazed when he sees our faith. He gets amazed when he sees that my people are believing in me without even seeing me. And that is what it is. When the word is spoken, and when we pick that word up, Jesus he's amazed. Church, Jesus is looking for us to be an amazing church. We are already an amazing grace church. He wants us to amaze him every time. Each time we get up in the morning, we are doing something, that we do something for him to get amazed. There are children in our life groups and in our church. I know that they have read the Bible from cover to cover 3 times, 4 times already. They are just 13, 14 years old. Amazing. Jesus must be thinking and saying, amazing. I'm so amazed by what's happening. Church, for us, as we go and as we do this life of service, as we are dwelling on this topic and this theme, can we do something that amazes him? It is not going to be amazing to the pastor or to the leadership or to your cell group leader. No. What does Jesus get amazed with? That is the question for us. And we're going to talk about it a little bit more when we come to this story, which I have not, discussed yet, which I'm going to talk to you about in the next few minutes. Luke, and actually, you know what? If I was in Luke's time, he would have made me the marketing director for his book, because I keep marketing about Luke every time. I just love his teaching so much. Luke had a special thing for actually women. You know, there are certain things mentioned in this gospel of Luke is not mentioned in the other gospels. And for women particularly, you remember the story about this Anna the prophetess. She was 84 years old. Luke records. She was literally living in the temple and worshiping God day in and out. It's not recorded anywhere else in the other gospels. You know the story about this widow who gave these two mites. That is not recorded in any other gospel. It's only in the book of Luke. And then Luke also records only one thing about the story of this widow of Nain. I mean, Luke's thing was something very beautiful, And one more thing, if you're a fan of Luke, you can read that he makes a symphony for Jesus. He brings in those songs which are not mentioned in any other gospels. Mary sings a song there. Simeon sings a song. The angels sing a song. If you combine this and if you look into this, this is a bit of a longish gospel, 24 chapters long. I mean, the verses are long, but a very detailed one and very, very significant. When you look into those details, it is so beautiful. And here we're going to talk to you about this place called Nain, and I want to show you on the map. And if you can put that, Ben, for me. You see, Jesus was when he was talking to this guy in the centurion, he was up north. And Nain was a small place, a very insignificant place, a very tiny place, so much tiny, so much insignificant that it's not mentioned anywhere in the Bible. In all the 66 books, it's not mentioned anywhere. It was so insignificant place. And Jesus was in Capernaum. And Jesus was traveling from there by foot. He was coming towards Nain. And Jesus was walking at a speed 20 miles, maybe around 38 kilometers, 40 kilometers. He was walking from there, and Jesus was a good walker. He used to walk a lot, and Jesus used to walk, and his people had to keep that kind of a place in rhythm with him. Jesus was walking from Capernaum to a small place called Nain. Church, I want to just tell you today, I know that most of us have joined in from Dubai maybe, but you may be sitting in a small town, wherever you may be. Or if you're in Dubai, you may be in a lane and a by-lane and a by-lane in a small place, in a tiny apartment, in a tiny studio, in a one bedroom, and you may be thinking that this is so tiny, this is so place, this is so insignificant. It may be hard for Jesus to come. But I want to encourage you this morning that Jesus is the one, and as Harry kept on telling, it's all about Jesus. He is there looking for that cry. He's waiting for that person to rise up and say, Lord, I need Jesus today. I need Jesus. And Jesus, even though the place is so insignificant, Jesus was running towards this place. Nobody has informed. When the servant was ill, they sent forth word to Jesus to say that Jesus, this man is sick here, but here nobody told Jesus. Jesus was walking on his own. The place Nain means beauty. It means pleasantness. You may be living in a small apartment, small room, but that's a beautiful place. That's the beauty. That is the place where Jesus is going to do the miracle for us. Even as I'm sharing this word, he will do that miracle for us today, because we have declared right from the start of the service that Jesus is Lord and he is a faithful God. We sang those songs, we worshiped him, and we said that, Lord, the glory belongs to you alone, Lord Jesus. And today we believe that Jesus is going to be there. He's going to be there. This place, the word Nain, it became name, it could become some things I do not know, but just to give a little bit of a more history about this name. In the same place, 500 years back, a similar miracle took place. 2 Kings chapter 4, I think. Elisha raised a boy from dead, same place. It was very close to Nain. But that place was Shunem. The place was called that Shunammite son. That name came from, probably, we don't have to worry too much about it, but it comes just saying it for the sake of it, just for your information, that that name would have been derived from that place Shunem, and it would have evolved and became Nain. A small place, insignificant place. Jesus was very much interested. Church, I know that Friday morning we had a long week, and we don't want to talk about death, and we don't want to talk about funeral and all those things. But let me just pause with you, and I want to tell you 100%. Though the story began with a somber state, with a dull note, it will not end like that. That's that because you know it. You have heard the story many, many times, and you know what I mean. But just to tell you that, when you are in a funeral service, and when you are in the funeral procession, it is a tough one. I was talking to Brother Lloyd recently when he came back from his dad's funeral, and he was saying, brother, thousands of people were there. Thousands of people in his house. He said, in the living room, people were just sleeping wherever they could find place. Because funerals are very, very important, and it's a kind of dignity. It talks about someone's lifestyle, the way the person has lived. Even in this COVID situation, when people were restricted to come, people were not wearing masks, and he was saying that people were just all over the place walking along with his dad's coffin. It happens for everyone, and those journeys become very long. Those journeys become very, very long, even though the cemetery could be maybe 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers from your home. But when you walk in those services, when the procession, it becomes very long. It's never ending. It's so painful. David Livingstone, a man who was a missionary and an explorer, he went to Africa. I believe that he walked 27,000 kilometers in his lifetime. He died in Africa due to malaria, but when he died on his knees with his Bible opened up. When people came to see in the morning, they saw him dead on his knees. What a way to die. What a way to die. He was not very old, by the way. He died at the age of 60. But his passion for the people of Africa, his service for the people of Africa, his life of service, which he sacrificed. He left all his comfort in England and he went all the way to Africa. And when he was found dead, the people appreciated him so much that they removed his heart and buried it in Africa. Right? They actually buried it in Africa. Wow, what a way to get buried. And then you know what they did? They actually buried him. They embalmed him, put salt on him, and they put a kind of a rod here. And two of his friends, Shuma and Susi, they carried him all the way. I don't know if he died in the place called Lake Victoria. Now my African brothers can help me to tell, where does Lake Victoria fall? Is it in Uganda? Is it in Tanzania? Or is it in Kenya? But he died in Lake Victoria. And the journey from Lake Victoria to the place in Zanzibar, they brought his body there. It took them 11 months and 1,000 miles. They had to walk for 1,000 miles, and it took 11 years to take them. Sorry, 11 months to take them. What a way to honor somebody who's died. What a way to do that. And from there, they saw the body, and they saw his heart was not there. He saw that his hand had been, he was attacked by a lion sometime back. So there was a mark here. They understood, okay, this is the body of David Livingstone. From there, they took him by ship to England. And I believe that London came to standstill, because this man was a man of honor. He had sacrificed his life. The entire life he had sacrificed for the people of Africa, exploration and missionary work. But imagine somebody getting a funeral procession that lasts for more than approximately 12 months. That is the longest funeral procession that we could record. But do you remember there is one more long actually procession, funeral procession that happened in the Bible? It happened in the book of Genesis, the last chapter, chapter 50, the last verse, 26. The book of Genesis starts with the garden, ends with a coffin. He says, and Joseph's body was kept in a coffin. The Israelites were wandering with his bones. It was not actually his full body, not his mummified body, but his bones. And they were actually taking him from 40 years they were in the wilderness, and then finally he was placed in a place in near West Bank they call now Shechem. He was actually buried there. Funerals are something very long, and this was this lady who was there with her only son. And I kept telling that only son, because I wanted to just hold on to this thing and we'll come back to it again. That this boy who had died was a breadwinner. He was a breadwinner. He was the one on whom, and these things are not kind of new, you all know about it, but just wanted to re-emphasize to connect you now to say how we were dependent as per the Jewish culture. And I know that women today do more than men in terms of the sons. The daughters do more for the parents than the sons nowadays. But in the Jewish culture, the entire thing dependent upon the sons. And this lady, she was past childbearing, and then she was probably, if this son had died, and then she did not know what to do. She was in a hopeless. She was at a crossroads. She came to a crossroad where she was helpless. She came to a crossroads when she did not know where to go. She did not know who's going to redeem her as per the Bible and the Jewish culture. And if you read the book of Ruth, there's a redeemer. There's a redeemer who comes and redeems you. One of her relatives will come and exchange it and say that I take responsibility for it. But for this lady, there was nobody who came up. She was at a crossroad. She was crying. She was helpless. She did not know. And Jesus, finishing this miracle in Capernaum, he was walking there. So you see that there were two processions that were coming in. One procession was coming with Jesus, and the Bible records that they were all cheerful. Large crowd gathered him. They went with him. And they were probably singing that my Jesus is in front of me. And we were recently taught in our life group again, we are in the Lord's army. And then they said, yes, sir. Probably people would have been saying that all through this journey. And if this would have happened in India, they would have said, Zindabad, Zindabad, Zindabad. That means long live Jesus. We are not in India. I mean, this was not in India, by the way, because Indians are very good to be more dramatic. They make things very beautiful in India when you go down on the streets, and especially in those processions. And Jesus was coming down there. And from here, the procession was coming. This procession probably was coming with a lot of speed and anxiety, and they were happy. And this was like completely sober, very, don't know what to say. But their speed was, they had to probably travel maybe few kilometers, but Jesus had to travel about 40 kilometers. But Jesus was aligning his speed to the speed of the funeral procession. That is what Jesus does. When you know that there is a problem, and when you see, I'm waiting for it, Lord, I don't know how I'm going to walk through it. You know that Jesus was aligned. If you are walking too fast, Jesus was aligned his speed to match to your speed. If this was slow, this was fast, he knew the distance. He did this calculation between time, distance, and speed. People who are from physics and chemistry, they know how it works. Time, distance, and speed, they know how to do what to do. And Jesus was so accurate. The procession came from this side, and Jesus' procession was coming from one side. This other procession came. They both came head on. As per the custom, normally, even in India, wherever you go, in Africa or Philippines, when the procession goes through, the people stop by and give respect to funeral procession. In this case, what happens? Who gets the first priority? Who does what? And they come head on. And Jesus, when he stands there, he sees two things. He finds two people dead over there. He finds the son to be dead. He's lying in the coffin. But then he also finds the mother who's also dead, but she was dead spiritually. She was dead completely. Her son was everything to her. Her focus was on her son, and that's why she was dead. Jesus saw the situation. Jesus said, this is something very unusual. And Jesus was like, his heart, Jesus' heart was moved with compassion when he saw the mother. And Jesus does something very beautiful. Jesus did not go first to this child, to this boy and say, get up. He didn't do that. Jesus did not do that. Jesus first went to the mother. His compassion, his heart of compassion was, he was so merciful and so compassionate. And Jesus said, I just can't wait anymore. And he didn't even wait anymore. He just kind of probably barged through this procession, went to this mother who was crying, and he says, don't cry. And this is the place, where I just wanted to pause for a minute. Jesus could have first healed the boy and told the mother, look what, I have now, your son is alive now don't cry. But here, Jesus wanted her to be amazed. Jesus first told her, don't cry. Normally in your house, what happens when your son or your daughter comes and asks you for something? I want to eat ice cream. I want to eat ice cream. What do? You don't say, don't cry. You first give the ice cream. Okay, now you stop crying. You first give them what they want. And then they say, don't cry. Now just keep quiet. Don't cry now. You got what you want. But in Jesus's economy, in Jesus's thinking, in Jesus's style, the whole thing is reversed. Jesus first tells her, don't cry. And that is the place where Jesus wants us to be amazed. And if we hold on to that place and say, Jesus, I am so, since you have said the word, since you said, don't cry, I'll stop crying. And then, boy, we will be raised. Church, this morning, actually, I spent about 15 minutes trying to look for a testimony that came in to us some time back. And I want to just tell you, I actually got it finally. 2017, there was a frantic call that came to our house. Somebody unknown to Indu just called Indu and said, by the way, for people who have joined for the first time or who don't know us, Indu is my wife. She's not around here right now, but yeah. So somebody called and she said she was a widow. She was a young widow, but she had a son and a daughter. And she said, you know what? My husband is dead, but my son, who's about 16, 17 years old, he doesn't come home. I don't know where he is. He just comes home, he'll have something to eat and he'll go back. And we don't know what is happening in our life. I do not know. I've lost everything. And Indu said, let's go to that place. Those days she did not know how to send the GPS. So we went to one place, lanes and by lanes, and a small place in Dera. And we went to her house and she was there with her daughter sitting there alone. It was very dark. They had a very small bulb. I remember those feelings and I am not that type of person who feels comfortable in this place, but Indu said, you have to come with me. We both went to their house. And for the first 15 minutes, we didn't share anything. We didn't speak. She opened the door. She went and sat on a chair, made us to sit in one chair. And all we did was to look at each other. And all we could hear was this lady sobbing and sobbing and sobbing. That was the condition. After 15 minutes, and this morning I was remembering Brother Lloyd when he was sharing last week. He said, Sometimes you go to someone's house, you don't have to tell them what to do. You just have to be with them, just be there with them, to just partner with them in their hardship and their sorrow. We were sitting there, and out of this, all of a sudden, Indu told her, "Do you have a musical instrument in your house?" She said, "No." "Does your son know to sing?" He said, "No." "Does he know to play any instrument?" She says, "No." "Does he have any interest in music?" He said, "No." She says, "Your son is going to be a worship leader." It's not about Hindu, by the way. It's not about a person. Here we're talking about Jesus. And only Jesus and only Jesus. That was the time the testimony, the word went to her that your son is going to be a worship leader. That's all. We prayed and we came back. That was in 2017. Why I could find this testimony so easily this morning was, I remember the date when we got a message. We were on 1st of January 2019. We were heading for a dinner to someone's house. And there comes a message to us. The word that you prophesied has come over, and today my son has become a worship leader. He was worshiping in a church. He worships even today. He's a beautiful worship leader. But the thing is, it happened after the word was spoken. Church, for us, when somebody prophesies over you, it is for you not to ask when, how much time it's going to take. Will it happen? I get so excited when I hear, and I'm sure Brother Mahesh won't actually mind this, but he said to me that he waited for 17 years for an interview, just for an interview, 17 years. And each time I look into those things, I keep thinking, how can you wait for 17 years? And last week he testified that first time in 5 years, he got his salary without begging, he said. It came into his bank account or whatever it may be. But it took 5 years. But the thing is, had he given up, saying that, Lord, I'm waiting for 17 years. But in the 17 years journey, did he lack anything? You people know him more than me. We just met him about 3-4 years back. But for 17 years, he says, he ate the best food. He drove a nice car. He's still driving a nice car. He's got a beautiful family. Everything is there. But the thing is, for him to get what he wanted, he says, I'll wait. He would have caught on to that word, don't cry. Don't cry. Don't cry. Right? I wanted to just, if you want to, if you want Jesus to work in your life, you need to have that faith built in us and act in faith before you experience the change. You need to be acting in faith to say that, Jesus, I'm ready today to take this. I do not know when it's going to come, but I believe that it's going to happen because you have said it. Jesus said, Mark 11:22, have faith in God. Very simple words. No, nothing complex in that. When God told Abraham, I'll make you a father of nations, he did not make him the father of nations and then change his name. He changed his name from Abraham to Abraham, and he said, you're going to be a father of nations, and he did it. He did it not, first he didn't change his name, and then he said this is going to happen, and he proved it. What happened to Sarah? She gave birth. You know why? Not after the birth, God went and told her, okay, you know what, now you will know. The word was given, she took it, and it happened. Just for us, we need to work on our faith. We need to go back in our faith. And if you have to put your life for service, you need to be a faithful servant who is going to be saying that, God, I'm going to do this no matter what. Many of us in this group today probably would not have gone for a funeral for our child. Maybe some, I know one or two, but yeah. You have children, Maybe tonight, this on this morning, maybe alive. Maybe your spouse is alive. Maybe your siblings are alive. Maybe your parents are alive, but they are dead. But they are dead spiritually. They are dead spiritually. They don't know what they do. And tonight, this morning, you are crying. Today, you are crying, saying that, Lord, I do not know when this is going to happen. I've been praying for my children. I'm praying for my sibling. I'm praying for my spouse, but nothing is working, Lord. I want to tell you today, Jesus is telling, don't cry. Jesus is telling, don't cry. Jesus is telling, don't cry. If your son and if your child has gone astray, I do not know. I'm not able to see anyone who's there. I can just see only few people, only pastor and some people on the screen, on my screen. I do not know. I do not know your background. But if your child today is spiritually dead, Jesus is going to raise this child. Jesus is going to raise this child up. Jesus is going to raise that sibling of yours. Jesus is going to raise your parents. He's going to raise your spouse, your boss, any friend of you. Today, if you are praying for him, praying for her, believe that today Jesus is going to do that for you. Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 17. Then if you can put that. Jeremiah chapter 31. So there is hope for your descendants, declares the Lord. Your children will return to their own land. There is a hope. There is a hope for us. There is a hope for us, and today we will declare it. And as after some time, Pastor is going to pray, we are going to declare it today along with agreement to say that there is a hope for our children who have gone astray, the children who are spiritually dead, the children who are not able to come up to speed. There is a hope. There is a hope for us because Jesus has done it for us. Jesus has said, don't cry. It is not anybody else's word. It is in red. He said, I have done it. Right? Some of you may be crying. He said, I'm crying today. Revelation chapter 21, verse 4. Revelation chapter 21, verse 4. The Bible says, He will wipe away every tear. Jesus will wipe away every single tear. He said, there will be no more death, no more pain, no more crying. Everything, the old has passed away. Today, 10 September 2021, we start off afresh. We come here with a new beginning. We come into the new season. Today, church, we have to have a connection between our head and our heart. We are actually missing the connection. Our head is only taking in and saying that this is what I'm seeing. But if your heart is convicted today, and the connection between the heart and head comes in, we are going to have that miracle. Jesus told this boy, he went and touched the coffin. Jesus went and touched the coffin and he said, young man, I say to you, get up. Second verse in this seven verses, 2 times only Jesus spoke. Young man, he says, I say to you, get up. Immediately, the dead man just he rose up immediately. You know what? In the Jewish culture, a priest cannot touch a body; he becomes unclean. But in Jesus's style, he's different. We build up all those things. People said that on the Jews said that on Sabbath you should not do, but Jesus said, I am the Lord of the Sabbath. I will do what I need. And Jesus did that, and he went, he healed this boy. The healing took place because the mother could raise, the mother who was spiritually dead, she became spiritually alive to say that, hey, when Jesus says something, it will happen. Jesus did that for her. Jesus did that for her. When Jesus touches the coffin, when he touched the coffin, when he touched the dead, when he touched the disease, there was a healing that happened. When he touched sorrow, he sent joy. When he touched death, he sent life. Isn't that a marvelous? Isn't that a God who is the God of miracles? In his standards, in his style, everything flips, everything changes. The whole The whole economy changes. Everything he says, I will turn it around for you. There's a deceased person, you cannot even touch that. Today, if you go down to somebody who's having COVID, you will run 20 kilometers away from him because COVID is something which I can't take it. Right? The person who's having COVID, he's not scared to touch anybody. But somebody who's not having COVID, to go and touch a COVID person, we saw some funny videos last year, in India, how they were putting some people just to scare them. We saw all those. It was so funny. But in Jesus' thing, it's completely the other way around. When disease left, sickness left, he brought in healing. Where there was sorrow, he brought in joy. Where there was death, he brought in life. Church, we need to believe that Jesus can do. He gave his son back to the mother. Mother was so happy. They all were filled with awe. Verse 16. Amazed. Luke uses a different word. A Greek word, he made it. There are 7 times, I believe, this word amazed can be used 7 times in Greek in different ways. Verse 16, he says, they were filled with awe and praise God. They were amazed. They were amazed. Every time we are getting amazed, let's give an opportunity for Jesus to get amazed. We are going to go back from here, from this service. And every time we are going to go back and we are going to say that Jesus, you are going to be, we want to amaze you today. Right? They were filled with awe and praise God. A great prophet has appeared among us. In Mark chapter 6, verse 6, I was telling you, Jesus, he was a prophet. These people did not believe, and Jesus was amazed in the negative way. He says, lack of faith. But here they have said, the great prophet is among, and God has come to help his people. This news about Jesus spread throughout Judea and the surrounding country. When the boy got up, he gave, when you are in a dead situation, and when you rise up, remember to pray, remember to praise, and remember to testify. Prayer, praise, and testify is something that definitely Jesus will be amazed. Church, Jesus turns your mourning into dancing. Jesus will turn it into dancing. Luke chapter 6, verse 21. Ben, if you can put that. Luke chapter 6, verse 21. Blessed are you who hunger now, for you will be satisfied. Blessed are you who weep now, for you will laugh. In Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 13, he says, I will turn your mourning into dancing. He will turn your mourning into dancing. Jesus is there today to turn every situation which is not right in your life. And he will do it for us. Revelation chapter 1, verse 18, the last verse for the day. And Jesus said, I'm the living one. I was dead. Now I look, I'm alive forever and ever, and I hold the keys of death and Hades. Jesus has got the keys. We don't have the keys. Jesus has got the keys to turn things, to open up the things. And Jesus is telling, come to me. Come to me, all who are heavy laden. That is what the words of Jesus. And today, even as we are going to close, I'm going to give it to Pastor to come and pray over us and to bless us. And I want to just say that we are a faithful church. We have to go around praising, thanking God, and to worship and to say that, Lord, it's all about you. Thank you very much, church. And thank you, Pastor. Over to you.